WBEZ is supported at LUC.
We're getting...
In the news at 5, commemorate Mary Harrison and wrote her Burn Plaza over the objections of the former mayor's daughter, who's reportedly opposed because of Jones's stance against women's suffrage.
Banks have wills too, and apparently they could be better at writing them.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by C3 AI. C3 Generative AI provides ChatGPT enterprise search that is verifiable, secure, and accurate across all enterprise data. C3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore in for David Brancaccio. Seems like forever ago, but you remember the whole mini banking crisis from earlier this year when Silicon Valley and several regional banks failed? Well, new rules are a-comin'. With those failures in mind, the head of the FDIC says the agency wants to make regional banks change their emergency plans for what happens if they fail. These plans are known in the banking world as living wills. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer has more.
FDIC Chairman Martin Gruenberg says the agency will propose rules requiring all large regional banks to submit more comprehensive living wills. They would include information on how quickly a bank could set up a data room for potential buyers. Gruenberg says they'd have to include information buyers could use to bid on the bank or some of its assets or operations. The rule would also require information to help whoever takes over the bank, like a list of key employees and data on payments and trading. And the living wills would need to include ways to reach key stakeholders in the bank. The proposal could also require these banks to take on long-term debt. Gruenberg says that would make them more stable and create more options, like breaking up a bank and selling its pieces. In short, Gruenberg says banks would have to wind themselves down in a way that, quote, is not dependent on an over-the-weekend sale. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
A whole new generation of potential investors has come of age since the beginning of the pandemic. And the pandemic was a unique time to do anything, let alone enter the world of investing. Marketplace's Kristen Schwab has more on that.
During the early days of the pandemic, some young people had a little more time on their hands to scroll through social media and Reddit, where investment advice and meme stocks thrive. They also may have had a little extra money in their pockets from stimulus checks and paused student loan payments. Meanwhile, technology has lowered the barriers to investing. There's app-based and commission-free trading, and investors can buy partial shares. Terrence Odine is a finance professor at UC Berkeley.
It's now very easy to trade. I think that has shifted the demographic where we now have more younger people and more people with less money.
The Federal Reserve surveyed investors in 2019. Back then, about half of Americans had money in the stock market. I'm Kristen Schwab for Marketplace.
Speaking of the stock market, let's do the numbers. The FTSE in London is down 1 6/10%. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures also down in the 3 to 5/10% range, with the Dow future down 171 points. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.236%, highest since last fall. Russia's central bank has raised interest rates there to 12%. By comparison, U.S. rates are at around 5.5%. The main reason, to prop up the value of the ruble. Higher interest rates make the Russian ruble more attractive to investors. If they buy more, demand goes up, and so does the currency's value. The ruble has lost about 30% of its value since the beginning of the year, driven by U.S. sanctions.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business. From small business to big enterprise and everything in between, Amazon Business helps simplify the supplies buying process. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. And by Charles Schwab. The people at Schwab are passionate about helping investors. Learn more at schwab.com/whyschwab.
We're taking a moment to look at some of America's downtowns and how they're recovering after the pandemic. Yesterday, we visited Fresno, California, which, according to mobile phone geolocation data, is recovering well. Today, we head to San Francisco, which is at the bottom of the list. Marketplace's Nova Safo reports.
As far as San Francisco's downtown is concerned, it might as well be the peak of pandemic lockdowns. Geolocation data shows the same level of foot traffic now as in late March 2020, and that's left local businesses here struggling.
Robert Sauls, or you want leather on this one?
Like Roberto Perez and his shoe repair shop. Before the pandemic, he enjoyed brisk business.
30, 40, 50 customers
A day?
a day. Now, like 3, 4, 5 customers, that's the maximum.
That's because most office workers are gone. San Francisco spent decades gearing its downtown towards office space, corporate headquarters, law firms, financial institutions. Over the last decade, the tech industry moved in too, all jobs that lend themselves to remote work.
80% of San Francisco's economy is made up of office industries.
Ted Egan is the city's chief economist. He says the shift to remote work has had wide-ranging and detrimental effects in the city.
We're not seeing the downtown office worker traffic. It's also affecting the housing market, business tourism industry. It's affecting transit and city operations and small businesses downtown.
But not all small businesses.
Right, you going to 21? Yes, sir.
Vic's Restaurant, a downtown institution, may show the city a way forward. Its customers are back. The kitchen is humming with activity as executive chef Anthony Tadeo looks on.
I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon. Having the reputation and having being a classic of San Francisco is definitely helps. You know, we have customers that have been coming here the whole 35 years.
Cultural and social draws, something other cities are focusing on. They're trying to remake their downtowns as not just places of work, but also of play.
The idea of the office district is now obsolete.
Karen Chappell is the director of the School of Cities at the University of Toronto, the organization that analyzed geolocation data to see which downtowns are reviving and which are stagnating.
We need something else, and we want to think about it as a place, as an inclusive place, as an affordable place, as a place where you can do all kinds of activities.
Reimagining downtowns will require a lot of change, she says, much like companies which may be trying to reduce their footprint.
We intentionally got this space to fit about 200 folks.
That's Liz Kaczynski, Chief People Officer at the online fraud detection company SIFT.
This was pre-COVID, of course. And so now we have probably about 100 people who are still in the Bay Area.
SIFT signed a 7-year lease in late 2019, so we'll have to wait several more years before it can potentially downsize. As more companies take similar steps, that could finally encourage rezoning and new uses for San Francisco's downtown. In San Francisco, I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
And in New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From 8 p.m., American Public Media.